travel has gotten crazy. We know that the airports this week are having historically high levels of travel. And you at theme parks, something like Universal Studios just announced right before we went on the air that the mask mandates have been fully lifted, inside, outside. So I think that kind of positive movement is really going to shape at least the southeastern portion of this country. I am curious, as Will said, what's it like in California? What's it like even in Texas or in the East Coast, in New Jersey, New York? I'm curious on if you're seeing similar things. We're hearing a lot of that rhetoric that they're reopening. But is it actually happening? Are you seeing the restrictions lighten up?
We heard a few weeks ago, months ago probably now, when the Biden administration did that first big push and said, if we all just follow the rules, we may be able to have a barbecue on the 4th of July. Yeah. Now, thankfully, and because of the vaccine and efforts and
look, the CDC saying, hey, you know what? Right. He was a little late to the game here.
But our mindset was kind of like, wait a second. You're saying that our freedom is going to be follow the rules so you can go hang out in your backyard. Now, obviously, the great American backyard barbecue on the 4th of July is an American institution. That's not something that we take lightly. We love that, but that's not the pinnacle of getting back to normal.
Freedom and liberty are deeply part of who we are as Americans. Our founders knew it. I think most Americans know it today. We've got to make sure that remains at the center, at the ethos, at the very heart of who we are as a nation. If we do that, none of the adversaries that I was working against these last 4 years, none of them have a prayer. If we get it right at home, America will be strong, our nation will be more secure, and our adversaries will see it for that.
Kind of interesting when you start to hear of other nations as well that are starting to reopen, but we know that in Canada, it's still very strict lockdown. There is a very big difference between how the United States is operating with our numbers going down and the vaccination numbers going up and people getting back to normal. Our neighbor to the north is still very much locked down. A lot of people can't even leave their homes without very specific reasons.
It's easy to get in your own mind and say, well, this is how it is everywhere. But look, if you're a sports fan, I've been watching the NHL playoffs, and when they would show games happening in Canada, I would turn to my wife and go, thank God that this isn't us. I mean, this is not where we just were at an arena with 20,000 or 15,000 people cheering our heads off and loving this big sports moment and communal event. And then you turn and you watch what's going on in Canada, and the stadium is still boarded up. It looks like it did early last year or mid last year. It's sad to see. Hopefully, I mean, I don't know what's going on specifically in Canada, how their rates are, what's happening there. Obviously, they're a different country. They live. We like to kind of lump them in sometimes with us, but they're being run very differently. And I think the pressure from the American people, it's kind of a uniquely American experiment, is the pressure from the American people to not accept authoritarian control is a big part of this, which is we're going to look, it's not unlike what we just said with the labs or what we're saying when it comes to reopening and things happening. Eventually, our government does listen to the people. And when the people say enough is enough, things actually start happening. And that's what we've seen in the last few weeks.
Freedom isn't just in your backyard. It lives beyond your backyard. It's exploring this nation and seeing your fellow Americans and being with them and learning more about the history and the landscape of this country. And that's what that's what we want to get back to. That's the normal.
Go check out what's going on outside of your own lot of land, because it's been very easy for a lot of us to get stuck in our ways and to get all of our food delivered and to have, just enjoy ourselves. There's nothing wrong with that, being with our families the last year within our, within four walls. But now it's time for not only for America to reopen, but for us to get out there and explore. And that's the theme of Freedom Lives Beyond Our Backyard.